A shocking incident has left the entire entertainment world gasping for breath. The friendship that fans thought was unbreakable has been destroyed in the blink of an eye. The names that once echoed in the hearts of millions, Kirk Franklin and David Mann, have now become a symbol of betrayal, violence, and shattered trust. But what caused this sudden and violent break in their long-standing relationship? Just days ago, a heated confrontation between the two friends led to an explosive attack, leaving Kirk Franklin hospitalized and the music world stunned. How did it escalate to this point? What happened behind closed doors that pushed David Mann to the edge, triggering a moment of raw rage that sent his once closest friend to the hospital? While rumors swirl about what truly went down, one thing is clear: this is no ordinary celebrity drama. This is a story of broken bonds, deep emotions, and unexpected turns. The question remains: can anything repair the damage, or is this the permanent end of their friendship? The entertainment world is no stranger to controversy. From unexpected breakups to shocking revelations, scandals seem to find their way into the lives of the stars. But few can compare to the drama surrounding Kirk Franklin and David Mann. What seemed like a friendship built on years of shared experiences, music collaborations, and moments of joy has now been reduced to a tragic tale of betrayal, confusion, and anger. For years, Kirk Franklin and David Mann have been icons in the music and entertainment world. They were more than just colleagues. They were friends, family even. Their bond was something the public admired. From their high-energy performances to their moments of laughter behind the scenes, fans could never have imagined that this relationship could come crashing down. But as rumors about Mann's pregnancy began to spread like wildfire, cracks started appearing in their once solid relationship. Tamela, David's wife, has always been a central figure in their lives. And with her public persona as a powerful woman in the industry, every detail of her life was under scrutiny. But it was when rumors began to circulate that she might be pregnant again that things started to spiral out of control. At first, it seemed like just another set of celebrity gossip. Nothing serious, just the usual buzz around a star. But as the rumors intensified, so did the tension between Kirk and David. David, always fiercely protective of his family, began to question the loyalty and motives of those around him, especially Kirk. Was Kirk getting too involved in the speculation? Did he have something to do with the growing whispers? Or was he merely trying to protect his own interests amidst the drama? The question that lingered in David's mind was: Kirk part of the problem, or was he simply being dragged into the chaos? This tension wasn't something that happened overnight. It built up slowly over time. David and Kirk had always been close, but the burden of dealing with public scrutiny, media pressure, and constant speculation began to take its toll. And as David's doubts grew, so did his anger. A particularly explosive moment occurred one night, when the two men met to have a private conversation. No one outside of the room knows exactly what was said, but sources close to the situation claim that things escalated quickly. What began as a discussion about the rumors surrounding Tamela's pregnancy turned into a full-blown argument. Emotions ran high as accusations flew back and forth. David allegedly accused Kirk of encouraging the rumors and, in some twisted way, feeding into the gossip that was threatening to tear apart his family. Kirk, always known for his calm demeanor, reportedly tried to de-escalate the situation, reminding David of their long friendship. But David, overwhelmed by emotion and fear for his family's reputation, couldn't contain his fury any longer. According to witnesses, David's words grew sharper, louder, until he reached his breaking point. In a shocking move, he lunged at Kirk, pushing him forcefully. The physical altercation came as a complete surprise. A man who had been known for his charisma, charm, and unwavering faith had snapped in a moment of rage. What followed was chaotic. Kirk stumbled back, trying to protect himself, but David's emotions were too raw, too intense. In the heat of the moment, a punch was thrown, knocking Kirk to the ground. The confrontation was so explosive that those present knew immediately this was not a simple argument. It was a breaking point in a friendship that was meant to last forever. When Kirk hit the floor, witnesses rushed to his aid. He was in pain, but more than that, he was in shock. He couldn't believe that the man he had spent years working with, laughing with, and sharing personal moments with was now attacking him. He was left confused and hurt. How did it get to this? David, on the other hand, immediately realized the gravity of the situation. He stood there staring at Kirk, frozen. What had he done? What had just happened? David was reportedly overwhelmed by a mixture of regret and anger. It was as if the anger he had been holding inside for so long had finally exploded. And now, there was no going back. It wasn't long before Kirk was rushed to the hospital, bruised but alive. David, meanwhile, was left alone with his thoughts, his actions hanging heavy in the air. The world soon found out what had happened, and the news spread like wildfire. Fans of both men were left reeling. Unable to comprehend how their idols had fallen so far, the public's reaction was one of shock and disbelief. For years, people had watched Kirk and David together, admired their chemistry, and followed their every move. To see such a violent outburst between them was unimaginable. But the real question remained. What had triggered this moment? Was it really the rumors about Tamla's pregnancy, or was there something deeper at play? As both men recover, the world waits for an explanation. The friendship that seemed so solid is now in shambles. Can this once unbreakable bond be repaired? Or is this the end of one of the most famous duos in entertainment? The public is left hanging, waiting for the next chapter of this shocking saga. The aftermath of the explosive incident between Kirk Franklin and David Mann shocked not only their fans but the entire entertainment industry. What was once seen as a brotherhood, a partnership forged through years of music, faith, and shared experiences, was now left in ruins. No one could have predicted how deep the betrayal would run, or how much it would affect both men. Kirk Franklin, now recovering in the hospital, was grappling with more than just physical pain. His body had been bruised, but it was his heart that felt the deepest wound. The man he had once considered a brother, a partner, had now become a stranger. What hurt the most was the sense of betrayal. How could David, someone who had been by his side through thick and thin, turn on him so suddenly? The rumors surrounding Tamla Mann's pregnancy had already created a rift, but Kirk had no idea that the situation would escalate so violently. He had always been the calm one, the voice of reason between the two of them. But then, a shocking interview surfaced. David Mann, his face etched with regret, finally opened up about the attack. Speaking for the first time about what had driven him to violence. "I was angry. I was afraid. And in that moment, I made a choice I deeply regret," he confessed. "It wasn't just about the rumors, it was everything building up, everything that was weighing on me. I took it out on the wrong person." David's words were filled with raw emotion, and for the first time, the public saw the vulnerability beneath his tough exterior. But while his apology seemed sincere, many fans couldn't help but question the timing. Why had David waited so long to speak out? Why had he allowed the rumors to swirl unchecked, without clarifying his side of the story? In his interview, David also hinted at something that had been bothering him for years, an unspoken tension that had been lurking beneath the surface of his friendship with Kirk. While he didn't go into details, he alluded to a sense of mistrust that had been festering for some time, something that had always made him question Kirk's loyalty, even if he never voiced it aloud. David revealed that, on some level, he had always feared that Kirk might not have his back the way he thought he did. Kirk, of course, was not going to let David's words slide without a response. After all, he was the one who had been physically attacked. And yet, it seemed like David was trying to paint himself as the victim. In a statement released shortly after the interview, Kirk expressed his disbelief. "I've known David for so long. We've been through so much together. But to hear him speak like that, it's like a betrayal all over again. He's making it seem like I was somehow the cause of all this. But I've never done anything but support him and his family." Kirk's statement was short, but it spoke volumes. He didn't just feel betrayed by David's actions, but, by the way, his friend had now tried to twist the narrative to shift the blame onto him. For Kirk, the damage was twofold: physical and emotional. His trust in David had been broken, and with that, his heartache deepened. He was no longer just dealing with the aftermath of the attack. He was now facing the painful realization that the man he called a brother had been harboring resentment all along. As the media frenzy continued, more details began to emerge about the rumored tension between the two men. It was clear that their friendship had been deteriorating long before the attack. The truth, however, remained elusive. Was the pregnancy rumor just the catalyst for deeper issues? Or was there something darker that had been brewing between Kirk and David for years? What was clear, though, was that the dynamic between the two had irreparably changed. There was no going back. As the dust began to settle after David Mann's explosive attack on Kirk Franklin, the world still remained in shock. The music industry had never witnessed a fall from grace quite like this one, and the fans were left wondering, could this once uncheckable bond ever be repaired? Or was it too late to salvage any part of their relationship? Kirk Franklin, although physically recovering, was still emotionally broken. He had spent years standing by David, celebrating their shared triumphs and navigating their struggles together. But now, as the media storm raged on, it felt as though everything they had worked for was collapsing in front of him. Was the man he had once called a brother truly gone? Could they ever move past the betrayal and the violence? Days turned into weeks, and Kirk found himself in a constant state of reflection. The hospital room, once a place of healing, now became a prison, where he grappled with the weight of the broken friendship. Every moment that passed without an apology from David only deepened the wound. He tried to reach out again, but David remained distant. Unwilling to acknowledge the severity of what had happened, Kirk knew that something had changed in their relationship long before the altercation. The silence between them, the subtle coldness that had begun to creep in over the last few years, had now revealed itself in the most violent of ways. Was this attack the culmination of years of unspoken frustration? Or was there a deeper reason that David had kept his anger hidden for so long? David's media interview, while an attempt to explain his actions, had only added fuel to the fire. His confession about feeling afraid and angry was met with mixed reactions. Some believed he was genuinely remorseful, but many others couldn't shake the feeling that he was attempting to justify his violent outburst. His words seemed to blur the lines between accountability and victimhood, leaving the public questioning whether David truly understood the gravity of what he had done. Despite the growing tension between them, David could not escape the feeling that he had made an irreversible mistake. He too had spent the last few weeks locked in his own internal battle, torn between guilt and pride. He had hurt Kirk, yes, but the deeper issue was how much of himself he had revealed in the process. In that moment of rage, when his emotions had taken over, David had laid bare the insecurities and fears he had carried for years, fears that he had never shared with anyone, least of all Kirk. David's resentment toward Kirk had been brewing for far longer than either of them had realized. Beneath the surface of their friendship, there had always been an underlying tension. David had felt overlooked at times, overshadowed by Kirk's massive presence in the gospel music scene. While Kirk had always been the center of attention, David had quietly dealt with his own insecurities, never fully voicing his frustrations. But those frustrations, David now admitted, had built up over time, creating a powder keg that had exploded in that fateful moment. In the days that followed the interview, David reached out to a few close friends to try and explain his actions. He expressed regret, but also confusion. "I don't know how I let it get this far," he told one friend. "I've always been the one who held everything together, but I was breaking. And when I saw Kirk, I saw someone who was supposed to have my back, but it felt like I was fighting this battle alone." Meanwhile, Kirk was processing the pain in his own way. He had heard the rumors, the whispers about how David had been acting behind the scenes. But hearing David's words in the interview confirmed his worst fears. David had felt isolated, alone, and in many ways, neglected. It was as if their years of friendship had been a facade, masking deeper issues neither of them had addressed. The truth was that they had both been too proud to speak up, too afraid to show vulnerability until it all came crashing down. Kirk's frustration wasn't just about the attack. It was about the years of silence, the things left unsaid. Why didn't he come to me? Kirk wondered aloud, talking to a close confidant. We had something special, something that meant more than just the music. But now, I feel like I don't even know him anymore. As the weeks wore on, both Kirk and David found themselves facing a crossroads. They were no longer the friends who had once shared laughter and triumphs on stage. Instead, they were two men, each reeling from the fallout of their own actions, trying to make sense of the shattered remains of what had once been a brotherhood. The world was waiting for a resolution. Fans had been eagerly watching the story unfold.